All
right. Do I need the microphone so the people online can hear me? Okay. All right. So let's see. Good evening. Welcome, everybody, to the last county meeting of the year. Thank you, everyone, for being here. We just have to open up with the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you don't mind, please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. So we have a great agenda tonight. We have a lot of people here who we're going to recognize this evening. So I just want to thank everybody for being here. And I'm going to call up Ray first. He's going to speak about our first person who we are happy to have with us this evening.
You know, sometimes we like to, at the association, always build good relationships with our state legislators, and some are much easier than others. And I remember when we saw the senator's announcement that he wasn't going to be running for re-election, the email started flying. And they were all like, we're really going to miss him. I think what may, you know, I can go through his statistics of he started in 2008 as a senator, but I think what talks to the man of Senator Orho is that he was one of those people that crossed political party lines. He worked well. I did the interview with him and Senator Sweeney. I remember being pictured next to him. I felt like a little good kid. But he worked very well with both political parties. He listened to everyone. And I think listening is a skill that's sometimes lost in today's political environment. I know Jonathan Pushman, our director of governmental relations, said, Ray, I'm really going to miss, he calls him Steve. So he said, I'm really going to miss Steve. He was one of those people you can have an honest conversation with. He knew the issues too, and he would ask questions. And I think that is so important in an elected official, including school board members. And it's something that we don't see as much anymore. People's minds are made up and then they start to talk. The senator asked questions, tried to see all perspectives of it. So I know that the county leadership felt the same way as I did on that. That you represented Sussex County so well, and with the dignity. They just wanted to recognize you at this meeting for all the work you did for Sussex County. So, Senator.
Did you say a few words?
You have to say a few words.
I have to say it already.
It's a lot.
As an elected official, you almost always say a few words, right? But well, for Ray, thank you very much for everything, and being, you know, having served in office, right, Jim, for 22 years, starting in Franklin Council, being a Sussex County freeholder, now calling commissioners, and then being, believe it or not, 16 years in the legislature, in the Senate. Never really expected to be down there that long, but I'm blessed. Rita and I, we've been married 43 years come July. We got 5 children. And we have 10 grandchildren. So I'm going to spend a little more time with the grandchildren and the children and whatnot. But really, I want to come in, and it's an honor to be here and thank you. Because the one thing that people don't realize how much work it is in elected office. And I know the school board members are really highly paid, right? You know, zero. I know what that is, right? But thank you so much for all the service you have. And the one thing I always tell people when they'll always give a call and say, hey, I'm thinking about running for office. I said, you know, let me just tell you one thing. Recognize how much work it is, because I have never, ever had anybody who got elected come back and say, you know, it's a lot less work than I expected, you know, ever. And then the other bit of advice I always tell them, when you go to the supermarket for food shopping, don't buy your ice cream first, because you'll get a lot of questions and everything like that. But and you look at the awards that here, and Christine, congratulations on Teacher of the Year from Sparta. Thank you so much for all your work. And all you look at, you know, you're gonna have awards here 10, 15, 30, 25 years. And we have one award here for posthumous for a 50-year award. It's amazing. So to be recognized for leaving office, thank you very much. I really, really appreciate it. And the education, I'm a CPA and a certified financial planner. I'm not, my sister's been was a school teacher for over 30 years. The education piece, I had to learn and everything. And the education you gave me was invaluable to me, and how much time you invested in me. So Ray, we had a lot of meetings. Jonathan and I had a lot of meetings, and Tammy, we've had a lot of meetings, right? Marie, we've had a lot of meetings. Everybody, but thank you so much. And I still see Ron at church all the time. So he's gonna keep me busy. But thank you so much. Thank you very much for everything that you do, right? Bob, you and I at the Y sometimes asking questions, right? So but thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you. Oh, wow.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, get a picture with her.
Oh, over here, where we want to do it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Do I get an honorary degree or something? No, I'm kidding.
We'll give you the school board salary.
Okay. No, you got bonus. You have your bonus.
All right, so thank you. And I have to say, I find it a little bit crazy that I presented a certificate signed by me. It really feels like it's backwards, right?
No.
But it's amazing. So thank you very much. I'm going to bring up Dr. Carrick next. She's going to speak a few words and introduce our next distinguished guest.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. This is hard being sandwiched between two incredible people. But I am honored tonight to be able to introduce a very, very special woman. I believe personally that education is the most important profession there is. And I say this everywhere I go. That is because we make all the other professions. We create the CPAs. We create the school board leaders. We create the artists, the actors, the attorneys. We make the future. So I am honored tonight to present someone who excels in her field. I've had the pleasure of being in her classroom and following some of the fantastic graduate work that she is doing with photography. So without further ado, I would like to introduce the Sussex County Teacher of the Year, Christine O'Brien Mace.
Hi, everyone. Is this on?
That's actually on for
Yes.
Okay. Hi, everyone. How are you? Thank you, Dr. Carrick. That was awesome. You've been awesome. I just want to say, when I was with you last time, that's all I actually think about. She mentions how we are the teachers of all careers. And honestly, I thought about it for 2 solid days. Because truly, honestly, I've taught so many grades. I've taught every grade almost, except for preschool. Well, I did volunteer at my kids' preschool doing art, but I absolutely adore high school. I even teach college, and high school is my favorite. And I think it's because we teach all things. I have everyone in my classroom. All right, good evening. And thank you for having me to celebrate this awesome event. I am Christine O'Brien Mace. I'm the 2023 Sussex County Teacher of the Year. I teach art and photography at Sparta High School for the past 13 years. And I grew up here in Sussex County, graduating from Sparta High School in 1990. I did go K through 12 in Sparta. So my life has gone full circle, going off to college in New York City and Philadelphia, traveling the world and returning back to teach in the high school I graduated from, and marrying the guy I met freshman year on the school bus. I did. If you told me I was going to be a teacher all those years back, I would have not believed you. If you told me I would have had kids, I would have not believed you. And my daughter's here to celebrate. I was set on having my art career in New York City, and I've worked in some of the most intense industries in New York City for Ellen Tracy, Nike Showroom, Colhan, and Columbia Records, to name a few. Who remembers CBGBs? Anybody around here? I used to photograph there. I've been the first assistant photographing on the Concorde and a set photographer for film and television. However, nothing can honestly compare you to profession in teaching. Teaching came to me later in life, and it was absolutely not on my radar. Going back to school in my late 30s with 3 kids in the alternate route program, I found myself twisting and turning about my career change. Teaching, this means I'm not a real artist. That means I'm not a successful artist, right? This is what art school tells you, and this is what the art world tells you. I mean, they're not wrong. However, it isn't accurate. What is not accurate is teaching forces you to really get to know your medium at a level most artists do not comprehend, and it's harder than you think. It is the compulsion to ask question after question on how to actually do something, step by step, stroke by stroke, dot by dot. It is the intimate and minute breath in between each blink as the student looks at a blank canvas, and this is what I fell in love with, the process, the what ifs, and how you're gonna do it, and where you're going from here. My journey as a CTOY, we're called County Teacher of the Year, has been a wonderful one, full of new friends and new ideas. It's been one of the most special honors to me, having received, being from Sussex County and having raised my family here. It's taken me a bit to really digest the magnitude of the complete joy I have in receiving this honor. I am that girl from high school who wore all black, listened to The Cure and Depeche Mode, who hung out in the art room, did the plays, and danced after school. I had very big hair, and my nickname was Cobra. If you saw the photos, I should bring one. And I couldn't find a date to the proms, so I asked them. I was that girl who stayed home, painted and drew, rode my bike to work, and maybe lost a little bit in the crowd, struggling to find friends or a group. But I just did me. And being your Sussex County Teacher of the Year is a culmination of the total me in its entirety. This year, I've been able to take workshops across the state and the nation, diving into educational issues in other parts of the country. Some eye-opening areas have been Native and Indigenous spaces such as Utah, along with Hispanic and Latino students, and in the Southwest, and how diversity looks across our country. Equity has been an overall push throughout. However, it can look quite different from region to region. Another area we forged is into mental health this year as a collective group. This not only included our students, however, looking at faculty and school culture. I've dealt with a lot of anxiety this year with my students, and so much so it's produced a serious lack of motivation in many. How can we tackle that as educators? It is a good question and an important one. We also have to take care of our own mental health and to be healthy for ourselves so we can be better teachers and better board members. Lastly, our cohort has been in deliberations and communications with the state in addressing SGOs and their effectiveness. Our goal has been to address the use of teacher time and refocusing the teaching profession into actual hours, uses for teaching needs. One of the really coolest parts about being a County Teacher of the Year is that you are now part of a really good group of people who are really good in their subject matter, and they really care. It's like your new cheer team. Everyone is into it and excited about sharing ideas. The vibration in the room when we all get together is really quite electric. It feels kind of like the Stanley Cup of education. I have to be a hockey fan here. And it's going on right now. Go Florida, if you're following it. We are also focused and working together as a 2023 cohort. It has been really a wonderful experience. I've been asked here to give you insight on how to be an influential board member as educators, from an educator's point of view. I honestly feel I've been successful due to my administration and my Board of Education. They have approved pretty much everything I ask for: supplies, class trips, and graduate classes, all of which has provided me a platform to grow and bounce off. I want you to take a second to close your eyes and imagine a teacher in front of you. That one teacher who keeps asking you for that one thing, that squeaky wheel per se. Is there someone who stands out to you? Is there a teacher who might need a little extra support? What are they asking for? Who does it serve? And will it motivate that teacher to be excited to be in their classroom? Will it motivate them to stay and teach in your district? Will it motivate them to keep educating themselves, which trickles all the way down to our children? You have a really important role to serve. And I know and have direct experience this, not only as a teacher, but serving my students every day and as a retired police wife and family. We all serve the public. We desire a fair and balanced check system, and we absolutely need you. You are part of the pie. And I would like to leave you a quote with Nelson Mandela. Education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world. Thank you and have an awesome night.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you
so much.
I'm a hugger.
Okay. I didn't work. We're going right over here. We gotta go over here for a picture. Yep.
Thank you. Yeah. That's a photo for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. So let's see here. Moving along on our agenda this evening, we have some remarks from our New Jersey School Board officers. So Tammy, looks like you're up next. Oh, Jeff, I'm sorry. I skipped a line. I did. I skipped.
You know what? If you want, let
There we
Tammy go first.
Oh, he's online. There we go. Go ahead.
Is Tammy gonna go or do you want me to go?
You're up, Jeff. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Well, I mean, this is my 6th of 7 meetings and seems like I'm always after the teacher of the year, and what a hard act to follow. They just keep getting better and better as I go along. And I want to congratulate Christine as well on the honor. I had hoped to be there tonight to see some old friends like Marie and Tammy, and to honor Eleanor and to thank the senator in person for everything he's done. But unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, because school closed, I had the opportunity to be somewhere else, and Lavalette won over Newton. My apologies. I'm going to be very brief tonight because I know Tammy is coming up to speak, and we just wanted to update you a little bit on the work of the NJSB Dues Reassessment Committee, which was a committee of local members appointed last fall to evaluate the association's dues formula and to make any recommendations that we saw to improve it. We were responsible to evaluate the formula to determine that it is fair and equitable to the membership, and to ensure that the association has the resources to maintain current and future services to the members. After studying the various different dues assessment methods, the committee concluded that the current method is the best one. The formula involves assessing a base amount plus a percentage of the district's current expense budget. As you may know, the NJSBA budget and the dues that was unanimously approved by the board of directors in late March involves a dues increase the first time in 14 years. And I would caution that the dues increase is going to vary from district to district because of the variation in the growth of all of our budgets since 2009. The average dues increase is about 7% or $852. I look at Sussex County, I see that 14 of your 25 districts actually will see a dues decrease. Again, part of that is due to the impact of S2, changing enrollments and so forth. A letter was sent out to the BAs and the superintendents notifying them of the dues. The actual invoices will be going out before the end of this month. And we apologize for not getting it out sooner in the budget process, but it had to be, they couldn't go out until the budget was approved. The dues formula, which hasn't been run for 14 years, will be run going forward, and that way we can make sure that everybody is making a fair and equitable amount. We would also note that inflation during that 30-year period was more than 30%. Some people have asked, how did we keep dues flat for 14 years? Part of that was due to the increased revenue from outside sources like the workshop, the services like board docs, superintendent searches, and so forth. But what opened my eyes by sitting on this committee was that a significant part of being able to keep the dues level was a dramatic decrease in staff. In 1997, NJSBA had 92 staff members. In 2013, 10 years ago, we had 78 staff members. And today, in 2023, we only have 56 staff members. Dr. Parnell, when he started last summer, began a listening tour, talking with board members about their needs. Based on the feedback he received, he plans to add staff members to the association to better serve local boards, including an additional attorney so that you can get a prompt reply to your attorney of the day calls, a field service representative. They have been spread too thin, an additional county activities coordinator, a professional trainer, because as you know, all of your mandated training now has to be completed in 90 days of your coming on the board, not the full year that you had prior. And an interesting one, which Tammy may talk about a little more, is the business administrator in residence, which will act as a resource. We look forward to making NJSBA better than ever and encourage all of you to utilize the services. And since Tammy is there, I normally would say at this point, I'm going to be sitting over there in the corner table. If you have any questions, ask me. But Tammy, who I want to thank for chairing this committee and for her service as vice president of NJSBA, did an outstanding job of leading us through to make sure that we made the dues equitable to all. So I want to thank her for that. And if you have any questions, you can go see her. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Jen. All right, with that, Tammy, why don't you come join me up here? There's yours. Thank you.
All right. Well, good evening, Sussex County. It is great to see you all as we get ready for the summer. And as you can see on the agenda, it says final remarks. So yes, this is my final meeting as VP of Finance for NJSBA after a 4-year term. Thank you so much, Jeff, for serving on my ad hoc committee for the dues assessment. And you know, Jeff Fisher has been a board member for 50 years, and he hates when I call him 50-year Jeff. So if anybody remembers like the Jackson 5 and they called him J5, I call him J50. So there you go. So before I move forward, I just have brief remarks from NJSBA, but first I want to again congratulate the Sussex County Teacher of the Year, Miss Christine O'Brien. Thank you for being amazing. You said some key words related to diversity and equity and mental health, and I so appreciate you for that. So thank you for all you do for our students. And then also for my friend, Senator Steve Oraho, who is also going to be leaving to spend more time with his family, and that probably is going to be good for your mental health. So congratulations to you. And thank you. Thank you for all you've done over the years. So we really appreciate you. And then for all the other board members this evening that are receiving awards for all your time and tenure, we thank you so much for that. All you've done for New Jersey School Boards Association. You guys are truly amazing. So one of the things that Jeff mentioned about the ad hoc committee, and I just want to say briefly, is that NJSBA does have opportunities for volunteer service on standing committees and task force. So board members can volunteer to serve as small group leaders for training programs such as the new board member orientation. But if you have any questions, you can contact Janet Branford, NJSBA's Chief Public Affairs Officer, at her email. You can go right on the website, click on the homepage for membership, and then get involved. And again, I'm not going to keep you between your summer. So again, I just want to say thank you all so much for all you do. As you know, I tell you guys are amazing rock stars, and thank you for supporting New Jersey's 1.4 million students and your communities. Thank you.
You want to join us? You're next. Board Director, Ron? Okay, absolutely. Ron, come on up.
Good evening, and thank you all for coming. I'm here as a alternate. And I would like to just give a report on the Board of Directors meeting. The workshop updates. Carly Lloyd, the Olympic two-time gold medal and two-time Women's World Cup champion, will be the speaker at workshop 2023 on Wednesday, 10/25 at 1 p.m. The workshop theme this year is going to be today's students, tomorrow's superheroes. Registration is open, and currently there's more than 800 members already registered. New to the workshop 2023 will be the first annual Unsung Superheroes Award. NJSBA will honor staff members who made a positive impact on the lives of children. The new categories that this includes will be bus drivers, aides, crossing guards, secretaries, administrative assistants, paraprofessionals, aides, custodians, cafeteria food services, librarians, coaches, and nurses. The NJSBA 2023-2024 budget update was also discussed at the meeting. And this will include a dues increase for many school districts, as was just mentioned. And just to repeat a note that this increase, that the dues have not been increased for 14 years. Now, the executive director's goals for 2023 to 2024, Dr. Tim Purnell has selected 3 areas of concentration for next year's goals. They consist in the area of NJSBA's services and products, in areas of 1, content, to revamp the NJSBA's Governance 1 training. Connection is the second. Launch a new engaging user-friendly website. Some improvements have been made recently with up-to-date negotiation information and also board president information area. Delegate assembly did take place on Saturday, 5/13 at Mercer College Conference Center. The NGA, New Jersey Board of Education, local school district delegates. Members there voted on the new NJSBA officers. And also they voted on 8 out of 8 submitted resolutions. There were 4 resolutions that were submitted and voted on. And the resolutions were discussed, passed. And other than that, let's see. The resolutions were presented by Huntington Central Regional High School, Plainfield Board of Education, Toms River Regional Board of Education, and Union County VOTEC Board of Education. We also voted on the elected officers. And the officers we voted on were Karen Cordellino as president. Vice President County Activities was Barry Fitzgerald. The position of Vice President of Finance was contested by petition. Jonathan Castaneda received 35% of the vote. And Tom Connors, who was put on the ballot by petition, received 65% of the vote, winning that position. And lastly, Vice President for Legislation was Shanta Jackson. And thank you. That's my report.
Okay, up next, we're going to turn our attention back to the screen. Jonathan Burns is going to give us an update from the NJSBA legislative team. Just 1 second here.
Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you. Let me just share my screen here, and then we'll get started. Okay, so what's been happening in Trenton recently? Well, there is, of course, the news about the budget, and the budget contains a variety of initiatives in it: supplemental stabilization aid, preschool aid, teacher recruitment and retention, academic recovery, the school-based youth services program. In the budget, it maintains funding for the current school-based youth services program and launches another program, NJ4S. The differences between these two programs are that NJ4S is a hub and spoke system where the students would go to a central location in their county, and the school-based youth services program is, as its name suggests, done within each school. Now, with this funding, the originally the governor proposed that the school-based youth services program would eventually be phased out, and the hub and spoke system of NJ4S would then be the solitary program. However, through the budget process, we have learned that the governor now intends to keep the school-based youth services program for at least the immediate future. Other things with regard to the budget include $420 million for special education extraordinary aid and $80 million for capital maintenance and emergent needs. NJSBA offered budget testimony, and we offered support for the budget with regard to remaining on the glide path toward fully funding the formula, investing in student mental health, and new programs to help combat the school staff shortage. We also made numerous requests, including tax levy growth cap flexibility, relief from the cost of increasing healthcare premiums, and increasing the appropriation for extraordinary special education aid, which, as I mentioned, was proposed at $420 million. Now, with regard to the teacher shortage, there is a package of bills that is making its way through the assembly right now. As a matter of fact, many of these bills were just recently voted on the assembly today. And these bills include a bill that would eliminate the basic skills requirement for teacher candidates. Another one that would have an expedited certification route for paraprofessionals who want to become teachers. Another bill would establish standalone endorsements in special education, K-8 education, and bilingual education. Another bill would continue the flexibilities that were given to retirees during the pandemic in terms of them being able to come out of retirement and teach without necessarily sacrificing their retirements. And this bill would extend those flexibilities for those individuals. Another bill would ensure the transfer of county college credits, that they would be counted towards credits for the educator preparation program. Another one establishes a teacher certification reimbursement fund. And finally, there's a bill that would create a student teacher stipend program. Other pending legislation include a learning acceleration grant program, a bill that would permit non-CDL drivers with certain training to drive the small school buses. As many of you may know, there is a driver shortage in New Jersey, And one of the big stumbling blocks is the commercial driver's license test, which is very, very involved. And this would allow more flexibility with regard to that, with regard to small school buses. Next, there's another bill that would extend the service life of school buses. And then there's another piece of legislation with regard to ensuring that menstrual products are in at least half of the female and gender neutral school bathrooms. And this would be funded by the state. Next, there are bills out there with regard to expanding the scope of allowable uses for sick leave. There's a bill that would require instruction in grief. Another one that would permanently allow electronic public meetings. Again, this is another bill where, if you remember, during the pandemic, there were regulations that permitted boards to meet virtually, and this would memorialize those flexibilities. And finally, there's a bill that would move up the April election second question certification deadline from 18 days to 60 days. NJSBA is actively working on getting the 18 days restored for those 14 April election districts due to the fact that the 60 days prior to the election puts that deadline before districts even know what their state aid numbers are. Recently signed bills include a bill with regard to Holocaust instruction and another bill with regard to tuition for non-resident students. This bill requires that the executive county superintendent approve the amount that you're going to charge non-resident students to come to your district. Other laws that have been signed include Lyme disease prevention instruction. And with that, that brings me to the end of this presentation. Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much.
I just want to, very quickly, does anybody have any questions for Jonathan on anything he went over while we have him online? No? Okay, hearing none, I'll have Ray come on back up. We have some onto the recognition portion of the program this evening.
Yeah, I think I got a lot to cover. I'm gonna change things a little bit. I'm gonna save Eleanor for last because I think the 50 years needs a little special recognition. And I'll get into more. It's more than 50 years, actually. But I'm supposed to give I'm your field service rep. I've been taking the phone calls. Jim, you didn't call me. I really like you, okay? But no, we'll be replacing, we'll have a new FSR this summer. I do want to say, though, that I've been enjoying talking to a lot of the school board members. I haven't done that on a regular basis like that in a long time. But the one thing you should be focusing on now is your CSA evaluation, then your board self-eval. July 1st is going to be here pretty soon. So I know a lot of boards have been doing it. If you have any questions, just email me on that. Before I get on to the awards, Christine, I have to say something about when you mentioned CBGBs and you took pictures. Okay. My wife was in a punk rock band that played at CBGBs. If you have any of the old negatives, let me know. I was not allowed to look at those, and I banned them from my kids ever seeing those punk rock band days. But it does show where we all come from. We have a journey, don't we, to get to where we are. But when you said CBGBs, I said, oh, yeah, my wife was there. And that was before me, though. I straightened her all out. Marie, don't tell Patty I said that, okay? But I do want to say one thing, Christine. I've met a lot of the county teachers here, going to all the county meetings, and I've talked to every state teacher of the year. I think it's inspiring to meet the county teachers of the year. And they all say the same thing, that meeting the other county teachers of the year is like this whole network of professional development they didn't plan on. And John talked about the legislation about that they're looking at for the teacher shortage. My personal thing is we need to have your voices heard by our students in high school and in college, because they need to know we don't have enough kids, we don't have enough people in the pipeline. There's not enough people in the teacher prep programs in the college, but they hear the value of a good educator and how you can change lives. I had one county teacher say she changed the life of a kid when she was a student teacher and it made her want to be a teacher. We need to get more people like you and inspire more people. And you need to talk to more kids because I think you will inspire them to go into the field. So you were inspiring, but all your colleagues are that you, and you can probably back me up on that one, right? So I just want to say that. So like I said, I have the milestone awards. This is for years of service. We'll give those out. We'll have them stay up here. Then I'll go through the training certification for those who are new. We have training certification for board members. We have various levels. I'm just gonna, you see the names on there, but I'll just call up the people that are here. And you'll take a picture of them? Okay, for 10 years. And just to let you know, we used to wait until you were on the board for 20 years before we gave a plaque out. And then some board member, I don't even know who it was, went to Dr. Feinside, said, throw me a bone. I'll never make 20. Can you give me something? So we started giving them at 10 years and 5-year increments after that. Here with us is Joan Fay from Newton. And Ron Hoffman. All right, stay up there. We'll get a picture. And then for 15 years, and he didn't do them consecutively. Charlie Krantz from Byram. Charlie was on the board years ago, and then he just came back recently. So 15 years. Think about it, that's 5 elections. You know, I measure it by elections. I'll get in the picture.
We have a lot of hats here in Sussex County.
We have 4 levels of training at New Jersey School Board Association. And with each one, you get that certification, your salary gets doubled. So we have the new board member certification, which is something we started relatively, I guess, about 6 years ago. And it's really in your first 2 years, the idea was to get board members used to going to training and to learn their craft. And so we have Lauren Collier from Sparta Township. She is a new board member. Hopefully you got it in the mails already. So for that, she has to have 10 credits within her first 2 years and go to an in-person or a virtual, special virtual new board member training. So congratulations. Stay up there. We want to get a picture with the next person. The next level up is a certified board member, which I expect you to get next year when we're here. Okay. Yeah. Okay. A certified board member needs 20 credits, and they have to go to at least one in-person delegate assembly. Have to go. They don't have to go anymore in person. They can just observe it. They also have to go to workshop. So we have Jennifer Harold from San Hope. I want to get someone else in the picture besides me. Tammy, why don't you get in the picture? No fighting. Both of you get in there. Kelly's not here. She had a change in plans for the master board member certification. For that, you need 30 credits, and you have to go to another delegate assembly. You also have to go to a workshop and a statewide training. You also have to take a test. We used to have a little show here. They also get besides getting the certificate, they actually get a plaque. They also get a lapel pin, and they get a tote bag. So Jennifer, that could be yours next year if you keep working at it. And then if you go beyond that, we have a certified board leader, and that's 60 credits, and just more of the same, and you get a portfolio. Is anyone here a master? Is it?
Yes.
Tammy has it. You can show it. Okay. So, but they needed to be recognized for that because they're not just going to their own board meetings, they're coming to meetings like this, they're going to statewide training, they're going to other. So that's a commitment to the position, which I think reflects on their duties as a board member. Now I have, it was very sad when I heard the news about Eleanor Schaefer. She had 50 years on the board in Hampton, but she had another 41 on the Kittatinny board. So that's 91 years of service to the kids of Hampton and Kittatinny Regional. She was one of the original members, right? Craig? She was the original board member for in Hampton and Kittatinny, wasn't she?
3 years after.
3 years after, okay. As it so happens is last year I did a video series of veteran board members talking about it, and Eleanor was one of the ones I picked out. Because I knew Eleanor, I knew her commitment to kids and to education and to Kittatinny and Hampton. She was committed to, but she was also really into the role of the board member. She knew her place as a board member. She respected the administration, but that doesn't mean she didn't ask you a hard question every now and then. Did she ask you any hard questions, Craig? So we do have a plaque for her that we printed up because she had 50 years in February. We were going to recognize her at this meeting. So I'm going to ask Craig Hutchinson and Maura Douglas to come up. Maura is the board president. We'll present it to them. I also asked Craig to say, I just think 91 years of service to 2 different districts that I don't know, but that probably, she was also one other thing. She was the last board member in the state to serve on 2 boards as an elected member. She was grandfathered in or grandmothered in, I'm not sure. So she was the last person to have that ability to do that. And probably no one could do it better. So I just think that is just a tremendous, and that's something I think all Sussex County can take pride in, is someone who is that committed to the board. So, oh yeah, Wayne's here too. Craig, do you want to say anything about her?
Thank you, Ray. First, congratulations to Christine. I've had a lot of years. This is my 19th year as a superintendent, and seeing the former teachers of the year and county teachers of the year be so successful is amazing. They bring so much joy to us as administrators because we see them grow every day and bring amazing things to the classroom. So thank you. Thank you to Senator Oroho for all you've done and continue to do, and I hope continue to do from the wings. You know where we're hurting, and we hope you can continue to push for Sussex County.
Thank you for the education you gave me. You're the first one to explain to me the geographic cost factor.
I do. That's a little while ago. So when Ray asked me to come up to talk about Eleanor, this is something I talk a lot, unfortunately, sometimes, but this was an easy one. And when you think about Eleanor, you know, when you think about 50 years, an original board member at Hampton, and 41 years plus at Kittatinny, you want to think of something that kind of encompasses that. And, you know, nuts, she's crazy to want to do that, but that's probably not what I should say. Eleanor was dedicated. She dedicated her life to students in schools. Eleanor was a nurse, member of the child study team in Blairstown, coordinator of child study team. And during that time, she not only served her students, but she served the students of Hampton and Kittatinny with the energy and the excitement and the dedication of no one I've had before or probably will ever have since, because board members don't serve 50 years anymore. Eleanor was someone who always thought through a situation. And with today's leaders, sometimes they don't think through situations. You wonder if they think at all sometimes. She was someone who was small in stature, but could be big in bite. She would fight for what was right for the students. each and every time. And you hear a lot of fights publicly these days, you know, in the political realms. But Eleanor fought from an informed and educated and a completely dedicated mission and philosophy that if it's right for kids, she's going to go for it and she's going to push for it. If it's right for programs in schools, she was right there. And she was a fighter. She, again, it's dangerous when you're informed, you're educated, and you have a complete dedication to a goal. And she would get what she wanted. And she did ask tough questions. And that was something that made her a good board member. Kittatinny and Hampton, I've been blessed to be there for a while. I arrived at Kittatinny 24 years ago. And I left for a short period of time. But Eleanor was someone who knew the strength of stability. And these days in school boards and in school leadership, stability is not often what is cherished, because sometimes it's looked upon as not moving forward, but that's just not the case in Eleanor's belief system. She knew we could move forward. And, you know, I'll give an example of Kittatinny and Hampton both. Kittatinny's had 2 superintendents in 39 years. Hampton has had 2, and I believe 31 years. And it was a lot to do with Eleanor serving on both boards and the importance of keeping a stable leadership in place. And it doesn't mean she didn't bust my chops, and she should have many times, and she did. But she was always thinking about students, and she was always thinking about what was best. And I applaud you as board members. It is getting harder and harder every day to not think about the ancillary things that you're exposed to. But if you keep doing what Eleanor did and keep that nose to the grindstone and make sure you're serving your students in your district, you're doing the right thing. And thank you so much for doing that. But Ray, thank you for recognizing Eleanor. I will present this plaque to her family. And if they would like, we're going to put it in our school with a plaque that we're having made right now. And it's just amazing to work with someone like Eleanor. And I know that our president, Maura Douglas and Wayne Murch, having known her for a number of years, would attest to everything I probably said, including the crazy sometimes. But thank you so much.
All right, look this way for a second.
That's the end of my portion of the meeting. I do want, if I don't see you, have a great summer, recharge those batteries. We'll see you in September. We'll see you at workshop. And try to keep someone like Eleanor, that commitment there. I won't be here to give you the 50-year plaque at that time, but I'll be there in spirit. So no, I don't think so. So Natia, we'll be closing soon with the.
Sure, back to me. Is there anybody left over? Do we need that? Because I see this.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, they're on there.
Oh, they're on. Okay, they're just not on the screen. Wasn't sure. Okay.
We don't need to see that.
Completely fine. Okay, so, up next, so I'm supposed to be giving a farewell address according to the agenda, because it is my last meeting as president as well, but really, we're going to go through the nominating committee. We're going to pass the torch on to the next group of folks, but I still intend to be here. I'll be serving as past president. Hopefully I'll get reelected to my board. I've been on about 8 years now. And the one thing I think I wanted to share with everybody, my why for joining the board. So about 8 years ago was when I got on my local board of education. I come from public education myself. I grew up down in West Orange for a number of years through my freshman year of high school. And when I came out to Sussex County, it was a very different experience in public education than it is in a district like West Orange, just from size. I wasn't used to small schools, small size, one school for pre-K to 8th grade. I didn't understand a lot about it. I don't come from an education background. Nobody in my family was teachers or educators. Apparently that was very new to being on a board of education. I was one of the few who was never conflicted, so I learned really, really fast about all the things to get involved in. But my real why for joining would actually stem from my son. My oldest son, he's 17, he's actually graduating from Sussex County Technical School this year. He'll be going on to Seton Hall in the fall. He had an amazing education experience up here in Sussex County, but he was dyslexic. And we knew he was dyslexic from a very young age. We had a lot of trouble getting the school to recognize and test and be a part of it. It was before legislation passed requiring a lot of that testing. So he was my why. I said, look, it's not just my son. There has to be other children who this affects, and we need to do better. So I joined the board, and through that experience, we've really made it a better education for all the kids in our school and in a number of schools. And like I said, he's gone on through the technical school. He was in the natural resources shop. He is looking to major in sustainability, food sustainability programs and environmental sciences. So, he is an out of the box thinker. My middle son will also be going to Sussex County Technical School in the engineering program. So just this idea of, college and career readiness, which is something I know New Jersey school boards focused on as well. I think it's amazing. And my youngest daughter, she's 10, she's going into the arts. So I respect very much what you do, because I am not half as creative as she is at 10 years old. And you should see us sitting in front of the sewing machine night after night while she tries to figure out how to be a fashion designer at 10 years old. It's a lot, but these are important things, these pathways that we have to education for our children, and what we're doing up here in Sussex County is fantastic. So with that, I would like to actually open up and present our committee on behalf of the nominating committee, which was myself, Marie, and Ron. So we got together, we went through the applications, and we do have a full slate of candidates to recommend this evening. So let me just go here. We recommend Wayne Dunn for president from High Point Regional School District, Kelly Mitchell from Vernon for vice president and secretary, and Ray Morris coming back in for vice president of legislation. So with that, I would like to open the floor for a motion. Anybody? Motion to move? Ron? Okay, and a second? Okay, thank you very much. Anybody, all in favor? Anybody opposed? I'm not sure which order we do it in here, sorry. Fine, good, okay, there we go. So with that, I guess really, does that formalize the election? We don't have to do anything more? Okay, yeah, okay, yeah, so that was what I was gonna say. I'd like everybody to please come on up. Who is here? I know Kelly couldn't be here, but I know Ray is here and Wade is here.
So I just want to thank, as they come up, like we said, Kelly couldn't be here, but we want to thank our new officers, are kind of our old officers as well.
Yeah.
So Ray has served as the media past president for the last 2 years. Wayne has been our second vice president. And if we can give it up for our outgoing president, Mattia, for her years of service as
Thank you.
president. Wonderful. If you guys can stay there, and if we can have Marie and Ron also join us up here. They complete your county board. They were elected last year as your delegate and your alternate. So their terms are 3 years. So the 5 of them together will serve as your 23-25 board. And we're going to officially install our Sussex County officers. So if you all can raise your right hands. Please. Do you solemnly promise to faithfully administer the duties incumbent upon these offices and agree that you will observe the bylaws and policies of the Sussex County School Boards Association? If you understand and accept all of these charges, signify by saying, I do. It is my pleasure to congratulate you. I now declare in the responsibility and privilege granted me for performing this installation that these officers have been duly installed and therefore do now preside over the Sussex County School Boards Association. Congratulations. And now, to accept his presidency and to close our meeting, your new president, Wayne Dunn.
Thank you. Thank you all. So I have to admit that this was a little bit of a surprise. I was having a conversation with my superintendent over something important at the time. Maybe it was on the phone or via text. And he closed by saying, I just talked with Ray Pinney and he says he's got big plans for you. And that was the end of it. And I probably should have followed up on that text to find out, but then I got the agenda and saw my name, so I appreciate that. Yes, I'm honored that you've given me this opportunity to serve the Sussex County School Boards. I did want to thank Senator Oroho for your service to our community and to the school boards. I wanted to congratulate our County Teacher of the Year. There was something that you had said that actually struck me. I have a very close friend that is also a photography and art teacher at a high school in Morris County. And he and I went to school together, high school, and I never thought he would be a teacher. And I believe you said something along the same lines. You never saw yourself being a teacher. He went on to art school and then became a teacher. I went on to engineering school and became an engineer. I have to admit something that I have a little bit of teacher envy, maybe, and that's why I think I got involved in school boards to give back to my community and to students in the community. So there are different ways of serving, I guess, other than just being a teacher, but we certainly very happy to have such wonderful teachers here in our community. So I don't want to keep everybody because I know we have a holiday coming up upon us. So I want to thank everybody again for Mattia and the rest of us. I guess we're still stuck here on the team, but thank you for your service. You have, I know I have big shoes to fill here. And with that, I believe I can close the meeting, right? Like that, just I can close the meeting. Thank you all.